call the meeting to order, and Dave, would you take the roll?
Mr. Genowine? Here. Mr. Mahoney? Here. Mr. Crandall?
Here. Should we stand for a pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have anybody signed in to speak?
We want to move the...
Also not agenda items, so, okay, we'll move ahead with the agenda, and then we'll call on that toward the end of the meeting. Approval of minutes, I'll move to approve the minutes of the November 18th special meeting. That's our budget hearing that we have annually.
So moved. Mr. Genowine? Yes. Mr. Mahoney? Yes. Mr. Crandall?
Yes. And now I'll move to approve the minutes of our November 19th regular meeting.
So moved. Mr. Genowine? Yes. Mr. Mahoney? Yes. Mr. Crandall?
Yes. Additions or deletions to the agenda, I think we have one under our administrator. Oliver, would you address that?
Yes, good evening, trustees. There is one proposed addition to the agenda tonight, Resolution 19-141. This is a request from the Lucas County Port Authority for amending a special assessment on a local project. Attorney Burrell is here to answer questions on that issue. And also one proposed elimination of the item under the fire department for the certification of the active hiring list.
Okay, you're pulling the fire department?
Correct.
Resolve. So that's 7.1. We will not be doing that. And then we're adding 8.2, which I think is amending some action we took back in, I think it's 2016. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hearing of the public, there's no one signed up on agenda items. And the fire chief pulled that item, so we'll go to Oliver again, the administrator. First resolution.
Great, thank you. Again, good evening. The first resolution on the agenda would offer Resolution 19-140, the acceptance and approval of the Township Health Insurance Committee's recommendations. On this matter, I believe that Director Onko will lead off discussion, and then I'll have comments following. Janet, if you'd like to address the health insurance.
Okay. Good evening. Before you is Resolution 19-140, and as you're aware, the Insurance Committee has been meeting over the past few months as a result of the renewal that we received from Medical Mutual, which is quite substantial this year. We were looking at increases of 28 to 33% in our insurance premiums, which we realized that we really had to do something and take a close look at insurance. So with that, we worked very closely with Highland, and as I said, we've been meeting over the past few months. And the Insurance Committee, I'm just going to kind of read over some of the motions which were filed by the Insurance Committee and then approved unanimously. And these are incorporated in, well, the first motion is incorporated in paragraphs 1 through 4. And the motion reads, starting with the 2020 plan year, implement the high deductible plan only. The township's contribution for the employee's HSA account will be $1,500 for the single level, which is what it has been, and $3,000, which is an increase of $500 for the family level, starting January 1, 2020. Of note, the family level, that covers not only employees with a family, but also employees at the coverage level of employee and spouse and employee and children. Also, employee contributions for this plan year would be blended January through March, and what that means is for the first 3 months, we are incorporating the 33% increase by Medical Mutual into those months with a blended rate for the entire year. Then, effective April 1st, we will move to a new carrier with a pharmacy benefit manager, a new TPA and carrier. Therefore, we will be terminating our policy with Medical Mutual effective March 31st, 2020. And again, that's paragraphs 1 through 4 of Resolution 19-140. And next is the next motion that was filed and approved unanimously by the Insurance Committee, and that would be to accept the blended premiums per an employee contribution chart using BAC, which is Front Path, as our TPA and carrier. Front Path would be the network, and True RX effective April 1st. Again, Front Path would be the network carrier. We would be using True RX for pharmacy, and they use a narrow formulary, which would also be a cost-saving measure, and they also have various clinical programs. We would be grandfathering in employees who have prescriptions that would be outside of the narrow formulary to kind of assist employees with that transfer and changeover. We also decided, as another cost-saving measure, the Insurance Committee decided to use Teledoc, and they offered an enhanced bundle this year. This would cost each employee, we would pay $9 per head per employee per month, but the enhanced benefits would include such things as behavioral health care, and as you're aware, Teledoc is access to a physician 24/7, which is very much utilized by our staff. We would also be purchasing a dialysis coverage for end-stage renal disease, and we would also purchase the cancer care coverage package. And this is incorporated in paragraphs 5 through 8, I believe, of the resolution. And let's see. Last but not least, another motion was filed indicating that for new hires, effective January of 2020, the township would make a contribution of $1,500 or $3,000, and we would be prorating that if the employee were to start in the middle of the year. And one other item as far as the high deductible plan, again, we were increasing the township's contribution from $2,500 to $3,000, and we thought that that would help ease the transition for employees, because at least with a $3,000 deductible, at least one family member would be covered. Their deductible would be covered by the township. I think that's all. Any questions?
Any questions for Janet? John?
Good work.
Yeah, great.
You did a lot of legwork on this, and it really paid off. I think everybody seems to understand the importance of this, and certainly the dollar. So we're moving over this, our whole organization, and thank you for your hard work.
Okay, yeah, I think it would be a benefit to everyone.
Also, I'm sure the board would like to thank the Insurance Committee, your next meeting. I know we've known for months this hasn't been easy, but we're faced with costs, we just can't continue to do that.
Right.
And I appreciate the cooperation of the Insurance Committee.
I'll offer Resolution 19-140 to accept and approve the Township's Health Committee's recommendation.
Second.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney? Yes. Mr. Crandall?
Yes. Thank you, Jamie.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Thank you. The next resolution under this category would be 19-141 regarding the amendment of the special assessment. On this, I'll defer to Mr. Burrell.
Good evening. This is an amendment of the original resolution. This was the first project that we did in the Special Energy Improvement District. They have the Port Authority. This was Lakatos. The total cost of the project turned out to be less than anticipated, so therefore they need to reduce the assessment. And that's what this resolution does. It just reduces the assessment.
What's the resolution number?
19-141.
Any questions for John?
I'll offer resolution 19-141, amending the special assessment for Anthony J. Licata, trustee and NZR Retail.
Second.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes, thank you, John. Fiscal Officer, Dave?
Yes, I have two resolutions. First, resolution 19-137, and it's we pass this resolution each year about this time, and it's the annual appropriation resolution that we do, and what it is we are appropriating monies to the various funds and that, and so if you have any questions, you can, of course, I'm going to entertain them, but it's again our standard resolution to fund our accounts so that we can basically write our checks during the course of the year. And you'll see later on, the next resolution kind of in a way addresses some of these things too. But in any event, I would like someone to move this resolution.
I'll move resolution 19-137, Township's annual appropriation resolution.
Second.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
And then I have resolution 19-138. And what this is it's actually transferring appropriations in this year's budget. And again, we have authority to move some monies around. And we have an account that maybe we didn't spend as much money in, and we have an account that in jeopardy here at year end we've had to spend a little bit more money in. So within a budget, within like the fire budget or the police budget or fiscal or the administration, we move some money within accounts to cover these funds that have had some additional expenditures. But all those expenditures, the trustees have approved. It's just that we have to make sure we don't, well, for lack of a better way to put it, bounce a check. We don't want to do that. So that's what this resolution 19-138, and you'll see they're kind of small sums. It's just moving some monies around here and there to make sure that we have monies in the accounts to face expenses that we have.
Any questions for?
I'll offer resolution 19-138, transfer of appropriation.
Second.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes. Next is hearing of the public on non-agenda items. Chuck? Say your last name for me. Stohoviak? All right. Yeah, you had your problem.
Good afternoon and good evening to all of you there. I'm here to represent the people of our subdivision, basically, and I live in Eagle Creek subdivision, which is, if you don't know where that's at, it's the last subdivision going out Sylvania Metamora Road on the south side of the road, bordering Richfield Townships. We're the last subdivision. We have it's a drainage ditch on the western boundary of our subdivision. Actually has a name. It's called Ford Ditch. And it's become, I've been living there for 10 years, and every year it's become more and more and more overgrown. Got trees growing in it. During the summer, there's bushes, trees, weeds, and it's really hindering the ability of the water to drain out of the area. And when we have heavy rains, water's backing up because of all that shrubbery and everything in there, and causing problems in several basements and with the pond there and a lot of other things. We had a couple of meetings with the people, my neighbors, and we decided to put a petition together to see if we could get you guys to help us get Lucas County engineers to come out, hopefully maybe in the spring if it's too late this year, and dredge that ditch out and get some of that overgrowth out of there. I had Brian Miller from Lucas County Engineers out there a couple of times. I talked to him on the phone a couple of times, and I kind of felt like he was, stonewalling us a little bit. I said, is there a problem? Is it going to hurt to actually go out there and dig this ditch out? When was it done last? He said, we recommend most of those drainage ditches be dug out from any time from 20 to 20, every 20 or 25 years. And And I said, when was ours dug out last? And he said, well, records only go back 22 years and it hasn't been done since we have records. So the ditch is extremely overgrown. Everybody that's looked at it can see, in the summertime especially, that it's really a hindrance to water flowing out of there. Originally, it was a drainage ditch for the farmer that had that land. Moses Schlockers, who's represented by Andrea here, Henline, can probably give you more of a history on that. But the more that they're developing that land now, the more that we're having issues with that ditch not taking water out quickly enough. So our petition is to try to, again, see if you guys can maybe do something to get Lucas County engineers to come out and dig that thing out, widen it, deepen it, whatever they can do. Brian Miller was real nice about it. He said they extended most of their budget this year into doing 10 Mile Creek, which we can see they've done a lot of work on that. But that's not helping us because the water is still backing up in our area, so. I've got this petition here, the original petition that everybody signed, and I have a copy of it. I don't know if you want me to leave that with you, or...
Be great, Chuck, thanks.
Okay, if you have any questions for anybody that's here,
Rob, I think, are you aware, or you must be aware of this?
I've been out there several times.
Could you come up?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I don't know what resident called me out, but I went out there several times on a complaint of high water, that the water was in their pond areas, retention areas, wasn't draining. Well, when I got out there, all the outlets were open. The ditch is overgrown. It's a typical ditch, old farm field ditch, but it's nothing compared to some of the other ditches that we're currently operating on. It probably was dredged and cleaned when the development went in, because all the outlets go to that ditch from the retention ponds. The overflow goes there. When I was called out, I went through a couple of the outlets, walked the ditch. All of them were open. All the outlet pipes were above the existing water level. It's all clay out there. It's a systemic issue west of Centennial Road. It's nothing new to anybody who's built or is a developer out there. I'm not saying the ditch couldn't be cleaned, but it's not on a priority list right now. Most of the issues, when I talk to the residents whose basement's backed up, a lot of them don't understand that because of high water in the retention system doesn't mean the basements are going to back up. If the water pumps, it should go out. The streets would be flooded before the water backs up in your basement, is what it should be if your system is correct. And a lot of them, either their system failed, they didn't have a proper check valve, didn't have, some issue other than the ditch. But that ditch, just like many others, probably could use cleaning, but it just wasn't put on a priority list. And I don't think, I did meet Brian out there. We looked at all the outlets and the retention ponds, and he said, you gotta pick your battles. And for the moment, I know that one was not on the priority list for this year, but we certainly can put it on the list, keep an eye on it. There's only so much stormwater money to go around, but it is something that we were aware of, and we'll keep an eye on it. And certainly, the petition will keep us, focused on that, and that will help us.
Did the old ditch run through the plat?
It's actually the border between Sylvania Township and Ridgefield Township. And
I know where the plat's at, but did the ditch run before development? Did it run
It
through
runs on the
plat?
west side of the development.
The west side? Oh, okay, I'm picturing it wrong.
Like he said, when the developers first started doing their work there, they actually made that embankment higher on the residential side of the ditch, and the water doesn't really overflow there. But what's happening is those old farm fields, and this one in particular had farm drainage tiles that the farmers buried underneath the ground. Well, they could be 4, 6, 8 feet deep. Generally, I think they're about 6 feet deep. But when that ditch water gets high, there's so much pressure on the bank that I don't feel like the rest of those tiles that were left in there are able to have any water exit out of there and go into their natural place, which would be that ditch. So there's several mitigating factors, I think, that...
Does the ditch run north and south? That's what I'm picturing. All right, and then when it goes, and doesn't it come back east eventually, or does it run south?
Brian told me that it runs straight to past Brent, I think, and he said then it snakes a little bit and it enters 10 Mile Creek at a bad angle. And he said if he had a recommendation to make.
So it's running straight south.
He wants to change where it enters 10 Mile Creek, so it enters going downstream, but it enters going upstream apparently. He feels, his own personal opinion when he was talking to me, was that that's an issue too, keeping the water from draining out that far, so.
It actually cuts back west, at the end of our development, it cuts back west towards 10 Mile Creek.
But eventually, all that's,
Upstream.
so it's going back through Richfield to get to 10 Mile Creek, or is it staying
It's
Sylvania?
mostly in the township. and just-
Sylvania Township? So we're not dealing with two townships here?
No,
Correct.
but regardless, it would be a county. It's-
Yeah, no, I get that, I just wondered.
We're not here to say this is gonna be the overall answer, everything's gonna be cured, but we feel like it'll be a big step to help get that water out of there, and then anything else, there were people that had some problems and had backup sumps in, but there were people that, and you had, Andrea has pictures of some of the yards and basements that were just totally flooded. And we had that real bad rain back in the summer, like 4 inches in 1 hour on a Sunday night, if you remember that, and that was just a killer. That was Mother Nature. But I guess my point is, if we get the ditch cleaned out, we can go from there. Right now, I feel like that would be a good place to start, so.
Did you mention that it's backing up into the detention ponds too?
Well, I take care of that pond, my own personal, I live on the pond, and I take care of putting the chemicals in there. And I take care of like 8 other ponds, and in the summertime, I generally have to put chemicals in no more than 2 or 3 times. I've had to put chemicals in our pond that I live on 7 or 8 times this summer because there's so much over dilution going on, because the pond just fills up with water and takes forever to drain out. Don't know, and I have no idea why that's happening, and that would be.
I have a video, if you guys have any interest in seeing it, but it literally backs, I live where the drain pipe goes.
So could we get your name and
Yeah, my
address?
name's Joe Iden, I'm a resident in the neighborhood, our last name's spelled E-I-D-E. E-I-D-E? That's correct, yep. And I live where the drainage pipe comes into the creek, from the creek to the detention ponds that our guy lives on there. And it literally will spill up out of the grate from the pond where it's supposed to go from the pond. When the pond overflows into that creek, it actually backs up and goes into the pond.
Yeah.
And spills over the edge of the
Overflow.
of the grate.
Could you give me your address, sir?
Yeah, it's 5625 Ayers Hawk Lane, 2 words.
I'm sure you're on here, Joe.
Oh, yeah, definitely on
I'm
there.
gonna leave, this is the original that I went door to door, and I think 95% of our residents signed this without hesitation, so. And the ones that didn't, I couldn't get a hold of over the holiday week. I was out all last week during Thanksgiving week. You want me to get this to you guys, or?
Sure, and,
Thanks, Chuck.
do you want a chance to look at this, Rob? How do we get back? I hate to leave things just,
No problem. I wasn't aware of a petition or issue. I've never met any of these people, so, that I'm aware of. So the 2 calls that I did get to go out there, it was this summer. I don't believe they're here.
I think you said you're willing
We
to
certainly can take a look at
put
it.
it up for consideration.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime there's an issue, you guys can call me, I'll come right out, take a look, at least try and temporarily ease whatever issue you're having. But like I said, these ponds, they're not ponds, they're retention areas, and they're designed to be a retention area, not a landscaped pond. So they're gonna fluctuate, with the 10 Mile Creek. When things are operating smoothly, they work great. When we have 1 or 2 inches of rain in a 24-hour period, once the 10 Mile Creek gets filled up, everything drains slow. It's systemic from cobblestones all the way out to their development out there, because that's all.
Like 100 houses, I was like the 13th or 14th house in there, I've been in there for 11 years, and I agree, we've had years where no problem at all, when we haven't had real crazy rain. This year, we had some real crazy rain days, and it just came down all of a sudden, all at one time. But, again, I guess my final point is just, if it can't hurt to get this ditch cleaned out, cleared out, there's so much old growth in there right now, and it's been over 22 years, and Brian told me himself that they usually would do it between 20 and 25 years, so we gotta be at the upper limit of having that done, so.
Well, it sounds like when the plant was under construction, did they clean this ditch?
He didn't have that on his...
I can't tell you.
It sounds like it wasn't cleaned.
I don't think it was.
Probably wasn't.
I can't imagine it wouldn't have been, why it wouldn't have been. There is D-rock in it. Typically, those farm ditches didn't put D-rock in them. That's all got D-rock through there, big giant rock. So at some point, somebody made some improvements to it. There's some head walls from where the pipes come out. So there was something done to it. It's not just a farm ditch that we filled through 12-inch tiles into. I'm sure, I would assume that the developer had some, engineering design plans when they put that in, but like I said, I wasn't out there when it was done. I don't have any photographs or any plans
Well, I
to do
think
that.
Sir Rob's willing to
Yeah,
put it
absolutely,
on.
call me anytime.
Card you can give them?
Yep, I don't have one on me, but you can certainly find me.
I can get hold
When
get you...
when
On
will
the
we,
website, and I
when
don't,
do you think,
How we're progressing.
yep.
That's all we really want, is just get them updated once in a while, see if there's any...
I think Rob would be happy to call.
We got a
When will we
list
firm
of
up
issues, and we put them on the stormwater utility, and we press Brian. It's a lot easier when the townships and the county are working together on something. I wasn't aware of this going on, I just got called out once or twice on that. Typically in those neighborhoods, you do every summer though.
Well, if you could get his phone number and then let him, rather than just say, we'll consider it next year, we'll get back to you on.
That would be great. That's all we're really looking for, is see if we can get all the systems.
Thank you
Thanks for coming, Chuck.
Thanks for circulating the petition.
You're in support today.
You know, we don't want to hear about my father-in-law.
T-Bone is his name. You know, that's his nickname. You remember Tom Jameson from,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, that's his son.
that's your son-in-law? I feel sorry for you, no, I'm just,
Not part of it.
no, yeah.
Everything's recorded.
Yeah, there you go. All right, next item on the agenda is board discussion. I don't know if you have anything. I don't think Rob, he's still working there, I don't think he has anything else. I would just like to announce that the annexation decision was delayed by the Board of County Commissioners to December 10th at 2 p.m. I think all the board was there, and I hope we can try to make that meeting. My understanding is there won't be any discussion. We'll just be there to hear their decision. Dave, I don't know if you can make it, but I don't think it would hurt if we try to show up again for that. And then the dispatch consolidation, that meeting is 8:30 that day, so John, you'll be attending that. Other than that, I
Is the
don't...
annexation meeting?
2 o'clock, at the 10th, at the hearing room of the board, and then at 8:30 that morning is the dispatch consolidation. So I'd just like to have that in the minutes so people know those 2 meetings. Anything else, John, or Neil, anything? All right. I move to go into executive session at 5:28 to consider pending and imminent court action. That is in regard to our police department and collective bargaining at our road and service department and our non-union personnel. And that topic is comp time. And I think at least Mr. Burrell will be joining us. And if there's others, we'll put those others in the minutes.
Second.
You said you, John?
Yeah.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out.
You're not in there, we could be talking about you.
Oh, good though, right?
I'll move to come out of executive session at 6:02.
John? Call the roll, Mr. Genoway?
Yes.
Mr. Mohan?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes. A move to adjourn at 6:03.
With no action from.
No action from executive session.
Mr. Genowine seconded it?
Yeah.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney? Mr. Randall?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, now you can...
You know that was on tape.